This is He Knows Everything, bringing you that heat and far. I need you guys to explain to me why Anthony Joshua is always apologizing after he loses. I don't understand that. If you lost, why is there an apology associated behind it? Why not just get the job done? Why not surround yourself with the right trainers? Surround yourself with the right group. Surround yourself with the right crop. Anthony Joshua has been a subpar boxer since he's been going up the ranks. I'm going to be honest with that. I never held any faithful stock in Anthony Joshua because, to be quite frank, I never trusted him. Anthony Joshua is one of those fighters that when you look at him and you look at what he's made up of, you scoff at it, you question it, and you ask yourself, is this guy for real? Is this guy serious? Is this guy a guy that you can sit there and hold your hat upon and say, you know what? He's going to deliver the goods? And when you ask yourself that fundamental question, you know what you come to the conclusion of? No. Floyd Mayweather has offered to train this guy. He rejected it. Anthony Joshua needs to change up his camp. As a matter of fact, Anthony Joshua needs to leave the UK. The UK has not done anything good for him. The UK has produced a lot of trash fighters or dirty fighters. Whether if it's a Tyson Fury who's dirty, or whether if it's just fighters that they just can't seem to get over the hump. We've seen this time and time again. Dillian White. I mean, this guy's from the UK. These are trash fighters. Anthony Joshua can be an above average fighter. I don't think he will ever be a great fighter, but he can definitely be an above average fighter. Mike Tyson was right when he talked about the heavyweights of the old and how these new heavyweights cannot stand in the ring with him. And I don't agree with everything that Mike Tyson talks about, but I do agree with that. Because this exposure that Anthony Joshua's revealed, he revealed that he was the weakest link, robotic, lack of chin, a guy who's stationary, a guy that's there to be hit. That Andy Ruiz Jr. fight revealed a lot. It exposed Anthony Joshua on such an emphatic level. And this is why Anthony Joshua is in the precarious situation that he's in. Because Anthony Joshua didn't develop outside of what he is. See, in boxing, you have to develop your skill set. You have to basically put yourself in a position to where you're better than what you're presenting on in the square circle. Anthony Joshua has not gotten better. In the second fight against Andy Ruiz Jr., they basically enlarged the square circle. And they knew Andy Ruiz Jr. was not training the same. Andy Ruiz Jr. was going to be a lot bigger coming into that fight. And that's shame on him for not taking it seriously, because now Andy Ruiz Jr. could look at himself and slap himself in the face like, I can't believe it. I could have exposed this guy twice. Alexander Usyk does not have the explosiveness that an Andy Ruiz Jr. has. Alexander Usyk does not have the fast twitching muscles that an Andy Ruiz Jr. has. He does not have the cholo stop. But somehow, some way, this great white hope was able to expose Anthony Joshua. Now, does this speak volumes on Alexander Usyk and him being so good? Or does it speak volumes on the fact that Anthony Joshua is just not that good? Let me say it again. Does this speak volumes on Alexander Usyk and him being supposedly so good? Or does this speak volumes on the fact that Anthony Joshua is just not that good? I believe it's the latter. Because Anthony Joshua at the end of the fight didn't look like a guy who was embarrassed at the fact that he lost. He didn't look like a guy who was basically torn at the fact that I can't believe that I didn't win this fight. He accepted it and said the same nonsense, or the same nonsensical nonsense that came out of his mouth like he did in the Andy Ruiz Jr. fight. The fact of the matter is, Anthony Joshua was exposed in that Andy Ruiz Jr. fight because it revealed that he lacks punch resistance. The guy cannot take punches. The guy can't take pressure. And the guy cannot take punch combination. Now, although Alexander Usyk didn't bring the same skill sets that an Andy Ruiz Jr. did, he nevertheless brought certain skill sets that befuddled Anthony Joshua. So I'm going to give him credit for that. I'm not going to sit here and not give him credit. I gave him credit for beating Anthony Joshua. Because it was shocking the fact that Anthony Joshua, who's supposed to dominate the division the way that he's supposed to dominate it, loses emphatically once again. It's pathetic. It's sad. And it speaks volumes of outside of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, there is no fucking heavyweights. I don't believe in Alexander Usyk. He's too small. I believe if he fights either one of those guys, Deontay Wilder or Tyson Fury, he's going to get exposed. Because those guys are too big. We're talking about 6'7" and 6'9". Alexander Usyk, I don't know if he's barely 6'3", 6'4". I don't know. These guys have a reach advantage over him. They have power advantage over him. They have boxing skills over him. And they're just bigger, man. They are actual heavyweights. Alexander Usyk is not a real heavyweight. He's more of a cruiserweight. That's what I see when I look at a guy like that. That's why it's shocking that an Anthony Joshua, full-fledged heavyweight, in terms of size, in terms of stature, got exposed by the likes of this guy. Anthony Joshua needs to do one or two things. Go back to the drawing board, get rid of his team, bring his ass to the United States of America, and switch things over, or leave us alone and retire from boxing. If he doesn't make and pick one of these two, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to see more of the same mediocrity from Anthony Joshua. This is He Knows Everything. Check it out.